So you want to go flawless. Going flawless is arguably the most challenging experience in Crucible. My goal in this video is to show you 5 easy tips to help you reach the lighthouse. Let's get right into it. Tip number 1, map positioning. Map positioning is one of the most important tips I could give. You want to try and get midfield advantage or height advantage depending on the map you play. For example, you'll find a position that has height or mid advantage. That means you can see multiple angles at once. This means when the enemy does push, you'll be ready for it. With the cap point appearing late in the round, you'll have an advantage of reaching it and forcing the enemy to push you and play around you. If you find yourself in a sticky situation, you're dead, right? Wrong. Remember, it's okay to disengage and reposition. You'll want to make sure you're always near cover or slide away from cover to help you reposition. Doing this means you'll control the pace of the playing field and allow you to predict the enemy's movement and lay down the foundation for your next play. Tip number 2, watching streamers and better players. There are certain techniques that top 1% of players will use that you wouldn't think about. You can try and copy, imitate, recreate things you see from them. Let's say you're watching your favorite Destiny 2 content creator and you see them 1v3 in trials. You can clip it and rewatch it and see what they did. Pay attention to their positioning, the radar, and what they're aiming at. Positioning we mentioned in tip 1, but what about the radar? The radar can help you understand the pace of how the enemy is playing. If there is quick movement, you'll see the radar change position and flicker depending on how they play. Aiming is more important than hitting your shots. The aim of the creator you're watching can help you understand the difference between winning and losing engagements. Aiming down certain lanes, angles, and areas for long periods of time may be considered a flaw, but in this instance, this is where we consider anticipation. If you pair watching the radar with your aim, you can get the advantage of being pre-aimed and pre-firing the enemy and winning the engagement. Don't be afraid to ask your favorite content creator what they would consider as tips, or even good players and even close friends that play the game. You'll be surprised on the things you can learn from different creators or even good players. Tip number 3, playing meta. In the age of Destiny 2, we find ourselves against guns, abilities that will dominate the Crucible. But one thing about going flawless, it might be time to join them. Let's say you step foot in Trials of Osiris and you're using your favorite loadout, but you have a terrible Timmy gunning you down every round. You're putting yourself at a disadvantage. To gain an advantage and level the playing field, think about what weapons and abilities and subclasses are meta at the time. If you're unsure what the meta is as well, inspect your opponents and see what they're using and see what you're being killed by. More than likely, you'll get an understanding of how the enemy and what the enemy is using in order to take you down. Armor stats can be incredibly important for your builds. Remember, each stat will have a different effect depending how you build into it. For example, high mobility on Hunter gives you a faster cooldown on dodge. Higher recovery on Warlock means you can place rifts more often. High resilience for Titan means you can spam your barricade for extra cover. Destiny PvP meta changes over time. Find out what the meta is, try it out, experiment with different subclasses, weapons, and builds. You'll soon find one that suits you and you'll be going flawless in no time. Tip number 4, playing your life. Now, of course, staying alive seems obvious when you think about it. However, your life in a round of trials is vital to your team's success. Now, I'm not saying you need to sit in the back of the map or be a corner camping Charlie. It's all too often that people find themselves pushing a team just because they got a pick or just because they're running a shotgun, which puts them and your team in a tough position and could end up with less players to fend off the enemy team. You need to remember that the enemy team is also playing to win. Take advantage of the mistake they make to give you life advantage. But remember, if you feel like you are working too hard to get a kill, then you are. Learn when to disengage and rotate to work with your teammates. And team shoot where possible. This gives you the opportunity to get picks and stay alive. Tip number 5, staying composed. One of the biggest reasons that top 1% of players are able to continue to go flawless is down to their composure. They keep composure through a win or a loss. Well, for the most part. What? That is bullshit. We've all been there. We've been getting wiped across the floor by an ultra stack team or sweaty players. You are down 0-4 and you just can't seem to find a way to win. Comebacks are always possible. This is where composure comes into play. Being able to stay composed is absolutely key in being able to stop yourself from failing at the gates and reaching that golden chest. You will be able to make better decisions and not get reckless and not get picked in scenarios where you should be staying alive. I've seen many times that teams can go back and forth on the scoreboard. Having the confidence and good composure that you can win can mean the difference between a win and a loss. That's my top 5 easy tips to go flawless. Let me know in the comments if you have any more tips you want to share. And let me know if you found this helpful. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you want a chance to be carried to the lighthouse, catch my live gameplay at twitch.tv/PureChiLL. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.